everyone, my name is Rashi Aditi Ghosh. I'm the assistant editor of the Banking and Finance Post, a publication by Elets Technomedia, which is India's biggest B2B media brand that organizes conferences, and we also publish several premier magazines across vertical, namely BFSI, CIO, eHealth, Digital Learning, eGov. And I welcome you all to the brand new episode of Let's Innovation Talk. And today we have with us Mr. Uthaman Bakthikrishnan. He is the Executive Director of ClearTouch. During this conversation, I believe that we'll be talking more about innovations and strategies that leaders put in their organization and the system that helps people innovate, move ahead, especially during the uncertain times when COVID is actually bringing our morale down, where we need the people to speak up, leaders to speak up. That helps us bring the level of motivation in all of us. So. Mr. Bhakti Krishnan is the executive director of ClearTouch. He's engaged in setting and implementing the company's strategic direction and guiding its product and services roadmap. He specializes in identifying market gaps, opportunities, right business strategies, and talent for execution. He holds more than 2 decades of experience in the IT and software industry, and he has directed ClearTouch's growth over the past 3 to 5 years in the excess of 200% each year by scaling the company to 5 locations and more than tripling its headcount. So, welcome to Let's Innovation Talk, Mr. Uthaman, and I believe this conversation is going to be very insightful for our viewers who are watching this.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you, Rashid.
Thank you for joining us, sir.
Thank
So, yeah, as we were, you started this on a note that this is going to be a technology-driven conversation, and we are all aware that technology is not a luxury or a choice to everyone; it's a mandate to everyone after the pandemic, specifically. So, when we talk about technology, there are disruptive technologies like cloud, which includes, a lot of migration. So people generally, they're scared of they're scared of the challenges that are likely to come up when you talk about migrating, especially when you're dealing with a organization that has legacy systems. So, do you think, in your view, is migrating from legacy systems a challenging task? And if yes, then how can disruptive technologies offer help in this regard? What's your point of view here?
Yeah, sure. That's a good question. So, legacy systems are like always having a little bit of challenge in different aspects, right? So, because like everything has been changed with the hardware, software, and the whole environment, how we operate, and then not to mention about the pandemic. So it's a totally different world compared to like what we had 2 years back. So, yeah, there are a lot of challenges out there. So the legacy systems do have their own strengths and a way of operating and what they were expected to do, right? So their boundaries were well set and defined with the time frame, like when they came in. So and then we have moved on to a lot of different ways, and then introducing a lot of different technologies, and then going to the internet and everything, and then and add on top of the pandemic, it's entirely changed the game altogether. So we have to look at it from that perspective. So when there is a migration, in my view, don't look at cloud is a totally an alien word or the technology as such. It is not. The system which is sitting in a legacy, which is so-called legacy, can very well be operating within cloud. If you go with the right strategies. For example, there are different industries having different set of conditions, right? Like a travel industry has different, and the the technology based companies have a different set of requirements, and then the BFSI, the banking sector, has entirely different set of requirements where they need a bigger muscle power, and they need scalability, and they need a reliability, and a lot of uh, flexibility in terms of introducing new products. And then on top of it, this pandemic, when it started, a lot of people, not a lot, everyone started working from home, meaning banks branches are no more relevant. You don't have to go to bank, or you cannot go to bank, and but still the transaction had to happen. People wanted to see how much is their bank balance, and they had questions, and they were applying for loan. Nothing stopped, but then the banking employees were not there. So how do we handle this situation? Right? So we help in a lot of different ways into different industries, banking especially. An employee didn't even go to branch office, but he's able to answer a call, or he's able to call on behalf of a bank and talk to a customer. And so the customers think the employees are working within the branch to a certain level, because they were seeing everything the same, like nothing has changed from the customer's perspective. So that is the way of sophistication, we have introduced in helping migrating the BFSI and other industries into cloud. So it all takes a little bit of a planning and strategic thinking how we can apply. Of course, the platform should be able to help you in a lot of different ways, right? So unless you have that kind of help from the platform, that's going to make it another difficulty factor in terms of the migration. One or two examples I'll give. We have introduced in this during this pandemic, for example, a module called LMS, like a list management service, which helps you different touch points with the interface, where you are interfacing, right? So this means whether you have FTP or not having FTP, you have a legacy system or a latest system, or you have a platform which can understand the data or which cannot even understand the data, or it knows what data to be called, not called. For example, for a contact center, or the customers who they want to reach out, not reach out, anything for that matter. It doesn't have to know anything, and then you just interface with this module, and it can help you analyze and give you all the details back to you, and then you decide what to do. So just imagine how easy it is when you have such a interface which takes care of a lot of these delicate issues that these other industries, or other platforms which are not necessarily cloud based, not necessarily up to date, but you don't even have to worry about. So this is how we have to innovate, and this is, we have to just offer a helping hand to make it happen. So given a time, I just throw up one example, but there are a lot of different ways you could do this one.
Right. So you spoke about migration, spoke about the need to do it right now. So
Yeah,
uh, if I have to find out, why is it significant to migrate, especially when not just COVID, but something of this sort, when black swan events like this happens in future. So how will you put this in point, that why is it very significant for everybody to migrate, especially if something like this happens in future, God forbid?
sure. Yeah, so migration have been always a part of our journey. So it is nothing new in terms of human life, in terms of technology, in terms of what we do, how we work, everything. But that is something it's going to be there all the time. There's nothing you can do to change or avoid. So it is all about how you want to plan and make it happen in a way that it is going to be advantage for the business, not a hurdle. Okay, so given that scenario, COVID-19 have put in a lot of limitations, just like I explained in the other question. Um, People are working from home, for example. What difference does it make? For some industries, it may not be a big difference, but there are many industries they changed the situation upside down, right? Where you had a front facing, where you had a customer interaction in person. Now everything is taken away, and you are supposed to do everything without that personal interaction. So what does that mean? What kind of options do you have as a company or as a technology? There are a lot of challenges that are going to be associated with this situation, right? So For example, uh, banking employees sitting at home being able to see the transaction and make a transaction on behalf of customer and approve a transaction, or explain the customer, okay, your loan process is here, this is the step, and this is going to be the next step, and it is going to take this long, and how we are going to interact. Then you have another problem interacting physically with a customer. You cannot even hand over a document to a customer. For example, for getting a signature, how do you do that one digitally, right? So all of a sudden, the transaction, which is supposed to be very simple one, walking into a counter and signing a document and handing it over. Now, it has to happen over the internet. So customers sitting at home and bank employees sitting at their home, and none of them are in the right place at the bank, and then the transaction has to happen. So how do you make it happen? So that's exactly where the scenario plays out, where you have no other choice. You have to be on a cloud. If you are not on a cloud, cloud means you don't have to think it's a fancy word, but if you just think of it, your system is enabled to interact using the internet. That's all, right? That's all to it. Not to make it as a cloud, but the cloud comes with a lot of different characters. It has to be able to scale. It has to be able to be flexible, and it has to be able to offer different integration point. Because when you are in a cloud, the biggest advantage is there are a lot of other services on the cloud. For example, you are you are delivering something. You don't have to have somebody to go deliver yourself, and you can use a lot of different platforms which are offering the delivery services, right? So you can online, you can in the cloud, you can have that interface, make it happen, and then interact with the other platform, and they will take care of delivery for you. So, I'm just giving an example in a layman terms. So, like that, in the integration point of view, there are a lot of different things that we can do to make this seamless and make it easy for the with this. Yeah.
Right. So yes, that's what migration is all about. It adds convenience, likely to add convenience not just to the company that is doing it. It can also add a lot of resilience and streamline solutions for the customers who are using it.
Yeah.
So yes. Yeah. So cloud, we all know it's not a new technology, but there are few notions associated with it. You talk about it will be costlier. Maybe it's not very what say very safe. There are regulative norms that are not very clear on the technology. So your expert take on this, how financial services companies can capitalize on cloud intelligence for their benefit, which would be above and over and above these challenges that stopping everybody from using cloud.
Yeah. So again, every scenario, is different, and it demands a different solution and a strategy. So why I'm saying again and again, that is, there are millions of different ways of doing, applying the technology to make it work for you. So it depends. We have to spend a lot of time understanding what the issue is, what the challenge is. I'll give you a few examples. So during this pandemic, what happened? The financial companies are helping a lot of customers working from home, applying for a loan and everything. And then all of a sudden, the customer is applying in the middle of the application, and then there is no progress. He did not submit the application. So now, what options do the banks have, the financial institutions have to be able to reach out to the customer and to find out what's going on. For example, right? So what we did is we have enabled our integration and intelligence here in a way that we can make automatic call as soon as there is that's a pause, or there seems to be some issue, or the customer just did not progress after a certain point of time. The automatic call triggered, and then the customer was contacted, and then the agent was able to be in touch with them, understand what is that that is stopping them, or is there anything that they need to understand? So this is just one example how how we can approach a problem and make that problem into your advantage, right? To work it in your favor by the way you applying a technology that makes it happen, right? This is how you have to approach, right? So there are a lot of different things we have done during the pandemic, where like a lot of these hurdles and bottlenecks have been turned out and then upside down and then made it into a strategic winning for many of our customers. So I think that deep understanding of how to approach the problem and the coming up with a different solution is but there are millions of different ways to handle the problem and coming up with a solution.
Right. So, you spoke about benefits and you spoke about how is it directly going to benefit the financial service companies if they opt for cloud. So, let's now shift our focus to ClearTouch that you are associated with. So, you've been expanding your reach in India slowly and gradually after 2016. So, in these last 5 years, how have you helped financial services companies in empowering themselves, in helping them with your cloud technology or your solutions and products? So, what's your take here?
So, like the companies come with different set of challenges when they are approaching contact center, especially because let's remember one thing: contact center and talking to agent is happen most likely when there is a problem or when there is something need to happen that did not happen. So otherwise, a customer being taking care with everything is not likely to make a call and talk to someone on the other side, right? That's just not going to be happening. So already there's one party is in the distress, and make during the call. So you have to be able to able to convince, understand, and give a solution, and hope that the customer is going to be happy. This is not an easy task by any means. For all the agents and the contact center, what they're doing is they're doing excellent job in making this happening. But then, how do you make it happen in a seamless way, in a way that within the short duration of time, you have to make all this information available to start with, and you have to have a lot of different integration for that agent to be able to see and understand what the problem this customer is having. For example, the customer has logged into online, or he is using his mobile device, or he has seen so some of the challenges or something in going to a branch office. You don't know what it is. So as he reached out to us via chat, or a Facebook, because there are a lot of different ways we can, uh, they can reach out to us. So as an agent, I should be able to see it. So I need to have first of all the integration on the right, point of the contacts, make it available for me. I'm able to see all the customer journey and see what the problem is. And then that way I can talk to him. When I talk to him, I'm able to connect with him better way. That is there any way I can assist you? That to enable the agent to go to that level, it takes a lot of technology, a lot of integration, and um, lot of strategy as such, to be able to talk to someone who you have not even seen, and right, and then who you don't even know, why he is calling you, first of all, to start with. And then, before even asking that question, why he is calling, you have to have certain information. Once you ask, then you have to have another set of information. If you don't have, that is going to again make it harder for the customer. He's going to be mad. So again, how do you go fetch that data, right? Because for us, they should know. But then the problem is, agent is not the person approving your loan, for example. He is not the person knowing your credit. He is not the person who knows what is your income. He is not the person who knows anything about the customer, right? But then you expect that agent to be able to give you a solution for the problem what you had, for the application that you made some error in your application, in the loan application, or the approval department of the loan application approval department has messed up something and it did not work. Now this agent is in between, so he has to be able to understand what really went wrong. So how to make that happen? How to bring that information in time and present it in a nice way to the agent that he can explain that in a better way, that it can explain, make the customer understand and see how to go about it. So that is the part, it's going to be very critical on how to make all the things happening, especially in a BFS side, where you have a ton of new products and introducing a newer product, can increase the complexity to multi mm, levels of complexity can be increased. So
Right. So, yeah. So you spoke about how your organization is helping, BFSI industry in reaching their goal all these 5 years. So, the year 2022 started on a positive note because we thought that somewhere we are, away from COVID, and the vaccination has finally solved the problem. But then midway we were caught with the third wave, which has now somehow subsided, and but the uncertainty remains within the system. So if we talk about the growth plans of the company in 2022 and maybe beyond, keeping PCP and resilience and technology in mind, which will make this organization relevant now and in future. So what are your growth plans for this year and maybe years ahead?
yeah, yeah. So pandemic in many ways impacted a lot of us, but then it has forced some of the changes on, like you know so some of the tools maybe we may not like it, but they all are about to happen one way or other. One of them is migrating to cloud. So that puts us in a very interesting scenario where our growth plan has have multiplied, in terms of number of clients, number of agents that are going to be online and being able to give their service from their sitting in their hometown and and in the smaller cities, which is very exciting. So this opens up a lot of different opportunities. So we have been behind the financials from the very beginning of the inception of the company, like in for past 20 years. We thought about 600 plus financial institutions around the world. And in India, it is really different story. So our top three domestic based clients are coming from the BFSI, where we help them with a lot of different aspects, right from when you are approaching the bank or for a loan or for any account, all the way to collections and all different aspects. So our platform have grown and tested for a lot of different things. For example, compliances, right? PCI, SOC 2, or very focused companies for in terms of BFSI have been in place in US and other international markets. So we are hoping something similar will happen in India also. But meanwhile, what we have done is we have made taking the same standards and compliances and everything what we do on the international, apply the same level of security that is available for our Indian-based customers. So that's one of the key factors for the BFSI company. They are looking at us, looking like us, because one of the major concern these companies when they come on board is the security, the data security. So it is our responsibility to prove that how secure is their database. So like that's a key factor, to showcase them, um, what are the steps we have taken, how we are going to make sure their data is safe, like doing it this way. It is no less than compared to any of your on-premise solution and example things like that. So it takes a lot of effort and a lot of over a years of research and development and coming up with a lot of these comprehensions and then making the platform so robust and scalable. For example, like one client who started a couple of years back, like a few hundred agents, but then pandemic forced them at some point of time they have to have all of their thousands of agents have to be on, and they have to be working from home, and they don't have access to their system. And just imagine the scenario, right? All these things are happening just when the pandemic. That first time when we heard the lockdown word, lockdown, when we heard this, all are happening within few days of that thing, and we are making it happening. So that's the kind of expert we like an expertise we have. On top of it, we do all the compliances, like I said, like DOT regulation for everything. So which makes it much more easier for the companies to look at our platform and solution. So
Right. With this, I believe you've added a lot of insight to this conversation that we had today. And we spoke at length about cloud migration, about uncertainty, and setting our goals for a future organization, which is not just relevant today, but maybe tomorrow as well, because uncertainty is somewhat now a part of the system, as we all know that new normal is actually going to stay here with us. Hybrid culture, remote work is not going to go in any time in future.
yeah, yeah.
Yes. So I think companies like ClearTouch actually hold a lot of significance during these times when technology is not just helping organization, it is saving lives. It is connecting humans, connecting families, connecting emotions, and acting, as a role model to everyone.
Mhm.
And that's what is the most, it is the biggest motivating factor for all of us, because we know if we cannot meet physically, at least we can see each other.
Yeah.
So that, and we can convey the message.
Mm.
So thank you so much, Mr. Bhakti Krishnan, for joining us today for Let's Innovation Talk. And like I always promise my viewers that next time when we join you during Let's Innovation Talk, we'll have someone as bright as Mr. Bhakti Krishnan, who shares his part of the story and motivates us to, take this journey ahead and not stop where you are. So the show is on, and we all have to live up to this. So thank you so much for joining us today, and we will soon connect with future innovation talks. And all the best for your vision and your growth story. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. Thank you so much. Thank you.